Alright, hey guys, my name is Shadow, and look, I'm actually doing a video, and it's actually about Warhammer 40k. Yes, finally. Okay, so what I thought we'd do in this video is I actually want to do like 2 of these videos, maybe 3 or 4, but this is going to be like a what have I been working on lately kind of thing. And today, what I have been working, well, I haven't been working on them today, but what I have been working on in the last couple of months is my Dark Angels Primaris army. It's not completely Primaris, as you can see, but it's like primarily Primaris, I guess you could say. So we have several different things in here. I'm going to try and pan around with the camera, and I'm not the best at like camera work, so just bear with me. So there's a lot of stuff on the table, and I'll see if I can like get it all in. Now I'm going to have to try and do like manual focus on this because I have like this weird Nikon DSLR camera, and if I use the autofocus, not only does it not necessarily focus on what I want it to focus on, but it also makes this really weird, like pretty annoying noise and stuff. So I'm just going to try and manual focus this. So if it doesn't look amazing, bear with me. Also, I'm still trying to work out the lighting situation in here, so if it's like too bright or not bright enough or kind of washed out, just bear with me. I'll get the hang of it eventually. So anyways, let's run down what I have in this army. So as you can see, it's mostly Primaris, and we'll start kind of over here at the far end, manual focusing. Okay, so I have 4 squads of, or 4 5-man squads of intercessors. So there's one here, and they have regular bolt rifles. There's another one here, and they have auto bolt rifles. Then right behind them, this is one of 3 aircraft that I have. This is a Nephilim jet fighter. This is not a Primaris unit. So as I was saying, it's mostly Primaris. It's not completely Primaris, but it's mostly Primaris. Like there aren't any like tactical Marines or Devastators or anything like that in the army, but there are, you know, things that are not like necessarily the newest things, but they're really cool things. So this is one of 2 Nephilim jet fighters, and then I also have a Dark Talon. So this Nephilim jet fighter is equipped with, let's see, it has, I forgot what the missiles are called. And if you're hearing a weird like banging noise in the background, that is my cat banging on the door. I can't let her out here because she'll chew on all the wires. Otherwise, I just would because she's so cute. But no, I can't let her out because she chews on cords, and there are a lot, and I don't want her to chew on them because that would be bad. Anyways, so this one is equipped with whatever sort of missiles that it has. It also has a twin heavy bolter, and it has the Avenger Mega Bolter, which is that thing right in the middle, right there, that cool looking like Gatling gun type thing. So that's pretty cool. So it has that stuff. And then, let's see, we already did the intercessors. Now in the back right here, this is one of my favorite units of the Primaris releases that have come out so far. This is a Redemptor Dreadnought. Now you might notice that it has no decals on it because like it didn't come with decals for Dark Angels. It only comes with decals for Ultramarines. And when I got this, I didn't have any other decals to put on it. I have since gotten a lot more decals. Everything else is all decaled up in, you know, in the Dark Angels style and stuff. But, you know, by the time I got those decals, I already had like 2 layers of clear coat on this. And it's a little shiny because I use like satin. I use a Krylon satin clear coat. I like it. It looks good and it's very durable. And I didn't want to put a 3rd coat on this because then it would have just been way too shiny, and I didn't want to go with matte over that because then it would look different than all the other units in the army. So let's zoom out a little bit and we will look at more things in this army once they are in focus. Okay, here we go. So let's look at these guys right here. So, okay, first, right here is a Primaris Lieutenant, and he is equipped with an auto bolt, a master-crafted auto bolt rifle, no less, and a bolt pistol. And lieutenants are cool because they can let you re-roll 1s when you're rolling to wound, and that's pretty nice. That's like an aura ability. Anybody within 6 inches, or any unit within 6 inches. Then right behind them, or right behind him, we have a really cool group of guys, which I can't seem to get all in focus at once. Or there we go. Okay. These are Hellblasters. Now, a lot of these guys are just from the Dark Imperium box set, which is a really good box set. I definitely recommend it. It also comes with a rule book, so that's really nice. And the guys that it comes with are great. Wow, they're amazing. So these are Hellblasters. Now, there are 3 different options for Hellblasters, but in the Dark Imperium box set, you only get 1 option. So these guys are just equipped with regular plasma incinerators. And that's not bad. These things are rapid fire. They're only rapid fire 1, but that means if they're within 15 inches of an enemy, they get to fire those things twice. And if you supercharge them, that means strength 8, 2 damage, minus 4 AP. Yes, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, let's pan over a little bit. Let's start with the front guys. So really leading off this army, I actually have some more guys that I'm working on for this army. We'll talk about that in a minute. But at the moment, leading off this army, we have a Primaris Captain in Gravis armor, which is from the Dark Imperium box set. And then we have a Primaris Librarian, which is not from the Dark Imperium box set. And man, are these guys cool. I think that Librarian is probably my favorite figure from this entire release. Like, well, from the entire Primaris lineup of releases. Anyways, he is so cool. Wow. And, well, the Dark Angel's psychic powers in the index, anyway, kind of suck. I feel like they kind of got shafted. Everybody else's psychic powers, like, if you get powers from the Librarius discipline, oh my gosh, you get some cool things, including, like, Null Zone, where your opponent doesn't get their invulnerables, or I think it's maybe anybody in that radius doesn't get, but some way or other, it negates invulnerable saves. Dark Angels, however, have to draw their psychic powers from the Interromancy discipline, and there are only like 3 powers in there at the moment because we only have the index for Dark Angels at the moment. However, as I film this, the Dark Angels Codex is supposed to be released, I think December 9th? Maybe is what I've heard. I could be wrong on the date, but sometime in the beginning of December, we get the Dark Angels and Blood Angels codexes. And not that I'm super excited about Blood Angels, I don't play Blood Angels, but the Dark Angels codex, and I've also heard that we get Lionel Johnson. Now that's just rumor, no confirmation on Lionel Johnson. However, I've heard it, so it must be, because now I'm super hyped for Lionel Johnson. Lionel Johnson's my dude. Yes. Anyways, so we get those guys. Now the Captain gives you some really cool, well, he gives you a really cool ability. Now the Lieutenant, he gives you the ability to reroll 1s on your wound roll. The Captain gives you the ability to reroll 1s on your hit roll. And then right over here, we have a second Lieutenant. This one is equipped with a power sword and a bolt pistol. So that's pretty cool. So we have both options going on for Lieutenants there. So let's talk about guys behind those guys. And this is actually as far as I can zoom in. So we'll just have to try and focus a little bit better. Let's talk about the Primaris Ancient. He's pretty cool. Yes, well, he is cool. I don't know. I don't really use him that much. I mean, he can do cool things. What he really is good at is if you have guys within 6 inches of him and they die, you can roll a d6, and on a 4+, they get to attack again. That's his power. It's not a bad power. It's kind of useful. I have used him, and that has come in handy. But really, he's just a guy with a bolt rifle, and that's about it. He also gives bonuses to your leadership and stuff. You know, if you're within 6 inches or 7 inches or something like that. I think it's 6 inches. But yeah, anyways. Let's talk about these guys next, who are just barely in focus. And again, this is as far as I can zoom in. I think there's one guy actually right behind the Ancient there that we can't quite see. But these are the Primaris Aggressors. They are incredibly useful. They have options. I have them equipped with the Auto Bolt Storm Gauntlets, and they also have Frag. Wait, is it Frag? Yeah, it's Frag Storm Grenade Launchers. Yeah, and that is really cool. So they get 6 shots apiece. You know, those are assault weapons, so these guys can advance and still fire their weapons, and they have an ability called Relentless Advance, where when they advance, they don't suffer any penalties to shooting and firing assault weapons. That's awesome. So they get 6 shots between them. There are 3 of them. One, like I said, one is is directly behind this Ancient right here. But there are 3 of them, and so that's 18 shots apiece just with the auto Boltstorm gauntlets. But they can also fire those Fragstorm grenade launchers, which actually have the same profile as the Boltstorm gauntlets. But instead of getting 6 shots with them, you get D6 shots with them. And that's okay. So that's 3 D6 shots apiece. I mean, you could get a maximum of 18 shots. Very unlikely, but you know, it could happen. Just, I think I yanked on the cord right there for the microphone. Sorry if that was super loud or something. Yeah, I'm not wearing headphones, so I can't tell. So I'll figure it out in editing. Yeah, I'll figure it out in editing. Anyways, but in addition to all those shots, even if they can fire and they can advance and fire and suffer no penalties for doing that. But if they stand still, they get to fire all of their weapons 2 times. So instead of 18 shots with the gauntlets, that's 36 shots. Instead of D6 shots with the Fragstorm grenade launchers, that's 2d6 shots with the Fragstorm grenade launchers. Yeah. So how cool is that? Okay, we have more guys behind those guys. We have, bad focusing. We have some Deathwing Terminators. And those guys are actually from the Dark Vengeance box set. You know, there are a lot of dark things in Warhammer 40k. But yeah, we have Terminators from the Dark Vengeance box set. Now, Terminators are pretty cool because, well, the Terminator armor is just really cool. But they're also cool because they can deep strike. Well, I guess it's called teleport strike now in 8th edition. But they can do that, so you don't have to place them on the board at the beginning of the game. And then when you want them to come in, you can just set them up like 9 inches away from you know, whatever enemy you want them to target and stuff. And that's really awesome. So this is just the default loadout that they come with from the Dark Vengeance box set, because they don't come with options or anything. Now, not that you can't like kit bash them, you totally can. But I just haven't, because I'm not really, you know, a kit bashing sort of person. But anyways, we have one equipped with an assault cannon. We have one equipped with a chain fist. The sergeant has a power sword, and then the rest of them are equipped with storm bolters and power fists. Yes, so that's pretty good. The storm bolters are even pretty good on their own. They are rapid fire 2, which means that they get 4 shots when they're at half range, which I believe is 12 inches. So yeah, there are 4 of those. So you can get a maximum of 16 shots out of those, plus the assault cannon rounds. That thing gets 6. I think it just gets a flat 6 shots. So that's like 22 shots just from those guys. So that is a lot of shooting so far. Then right behind them, we have a Land Raider, not the Land Raider Crusader. Now this Land Raider is really cool because 1, it's painted in the Deathwing colors, and 2, I totally got the custom Dark Angels doors from Forge World. So that's like a little resin kit thing that you put in there instead of the regular doors that it comes with, and then it has some Dark Angels iconography on there and stuff. And yeah, that's awesome. This thing is so tough. Everybody I have played with it has pretty much failed to destroy it. I mean, not that it can't be destroyed, but it's like toughness 8. It has 16 wounds. It's got 2 twin las cannons. So that's this thing right here. There's one on the other side. It's got the twin heavy bolter. It's got the storm bolter. It has an option for a multi-melta, but it doesn't come with that. And it has an option for a hunter-killer missile, which it does come with, but I just haven't put it on there because I kind of feel like that's empty points since it's, you know, a one-time use sort of thing. Like you can only fire that once per game. But yeah, this thing is cool, and it's the only thing that can transport Terminators, which is good because we have some more Terminators right here, which I will focus on, and you'll be able to see them. Yeah, okay. So right here and somewhat behind the lieutenant, we have the Deathwing Knights. These guys are amazingly cool. So these guys are basically close combat specialized Terminators. They have no ranged weapons, but 4 of them have what are called Maces of Absolution, and the Master, or, well, you know, I guess he would be the Sergeant in a regular squad, but he's called the Master when we're talking about the Deathwing Knights. He has the Flail of the Unforgiven. Now, these things do amazing damage. Now, the regular Terminators there, they just have power fists, and when you attack with those, it's -1 to hit with them in the fight phase. These guys have no such penalties for swinging around these big, huge weapons, and they do way, way more damage. In fact, the Master here, his flail, if you wound with it and it kills a guy, the damage doesn't stop there. It keeps going until all the damage is dealt or the unit that you were attacking is wiped out. It's that cool. Yeah, so the Land Raider is really good because it is the only unit in this entire army that can transport Terminators, and it's good to put your Deathwing Knights and the Land Raider because deep striking them, you can do it, but if you bring a unit in as reinforcements like that, they cannot then move, and you then will have a minimum of a 9-inch charge. So rolling 9 on 2d6, you can do it. It's not impossible, but it's easier to roll lower numbers on 2d6. So we can just then drop them right out of the Land Raider because they can deploy 3 inches from the hull, then they can move 5 inches, and then they can charge 2d6 inches. Yeah, probably going to get in there every time because that Land Raider is tough. It can just punch right through and get you where you're going. So then right behind the Land Raider here, we have another cool unit. This is also one of my favorite things. This is a Dark Talon, a Ravenwing Dark Talon. So it's kind of like the Nephilim, except you can see it has kind of this little reliquary thing going on, which was kind of interesting to paint. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's equipped with different sort of weapons. So that, like, the Nephilim jet fighters only have, they have 3 weapons, but this only has 2 weapons. Well, 2 sets of weapons. So it has 2 hurricane bolters, which are those like machine gun looking things under the wings. And then it has, oh my gosh, the Rift Cannon. Yes, that's like the best weapon in the entire game, I think. Well, probably not the entire game, but it's the best weapon in this army by, well, pretty much a long shot. So the Rift Cannon, wow, it can do D3 wounds when you hit with it. It's strength 10, it's AP -3, it can do D3 wounds, but then if you wound with it, you roll on its little damage table thing, or no, it's called the Vortex chart column thing, right? And if you meet or exceed the number in that column, it does an additional D3 mortal wounds. So like wounds that can't be ignored, basically. Yeah. So it is actually possible to do, like, let's see, D3 wounds. It can do, I think you get D3 shots with it. Let's see. So if you did a maximum of 3 shots and a maximum of 3 wounds, then that's 9 wounds. And if you could do another D3 mortal wounds every time you wound, and if you had 9 wounds, well, that's 9 damage. It's not 9 wounds. But let's see, you could wound 3 times. So that's what, another 9 mortal wounds that you could possibly do. So this thing could possibly, at its very maximum, it could possibly inflict 18 damage. Now, I've never gotten that, but I have destroyed very large things in one shot with it before. I think the most damage I've ever done with it was 11. And that's amazing. That's amazing. Yes, I mean, las cannons also do a lot of damage. I mean, they do D6 damage, every time you get a wound with them. That's pretty good. Now, I've actually skipped a unit over here. I've put them up here because they're, I don't know, they looked appropriate up here. So that's where they are. Again, I can't really zoom in any more than this, so I apologize if they're kind of far away. But these guys are in Scepters. Now, when I first got these guys, I didn't think they were that great because I put them on the table and I looked at their stats and I went, oh, okay, so these guys have something called an assault, what was it, an assault bolt rifle or something? Bolt assault rifle? Something like that. Anyways, assault bolters or something. But the stats are good. It's like strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage, something like that. And then each of those bolters gets 3 shots. And I went, okay, there are 3 guys, they get 3 shots, that's 9 shots. And I tried that out and it was not that great. And it took me a minute to realize, oh, I'm dumb. They each have 2 of those assault bolt rifle things. So that's not 9 shots, that's 18 shots. Like the aggressors, which are really good because they get 18 shots. And then when I realized that, they suddenly got a lot better because in addition to having 18 shots with those assault bolt rifles, they can also do something called meteoric descent, which is basically the same thing as deep striking. It's the same thing that the Terminators do. But these guys can also move 10 inches in one go, and if you advance them, they can still fire because those are, of course, assault weapons. Now, they do suffer, the -1 penalty for moving and firing assault weapons, but, they can still shoot. They'll just hit on 4s, and they still get 18 shots hitting on 4s. That's pretty good, I think. Now, if you charge them into an enemy, there is a possibility that they could do a mortal wound, but it's real unlikely. You have to roll a 6, and these guys really don't have amazing close combat capabilities anyways. Now, I mean, they are wearing Gravis armor. I think it's heavy Gravis armor. I could be wrong, but it is Gravis armor, and so they have toughness 5. But if you charge them into an enemy, they really lose all of their, shootiness. I mean, their usefulness comes from their ability to fire 18 shots out of those assault bolt rifles. And I'm probably calling them the wrong thing. They're probably not called assault bolt rifles. They're probably called something similar to that. Or it could be that. I don't know. Whatever it is. That. But that's why they're useful. So now, after figuring that out, I like them a lot. And I use them all the time. So let's see what else we've got in this army. Now, another really good Primaris thing over here is, let's focus, is the Repulsor tank. Yes. Yes, this tank is just amazeballs. It has so many weapons. Like, this thing is actually just kind of its own little army. It has so many weapons. It's just ridiculous. And it has a lot of different configurations that you can put it in. So right now I have it equipped with twin las cannon, a las Talon, a heavy stubber, an onslaught Gatling cannon, 2 storm bolters, and an Icarus rocket pod, and I think it also has Fragstorm grenade launchers, I think. Something like that. Yeah, it's got quite a lot of weapons. In addition to that, it's a hover tank. This is like the very first Space Marine hover thing I've ever seen. Well, not ever. I guess if you have like Samael's little thingamajiggy that hovers, and I guess actually the Dark Talon has a hover mode, but that's an aircraft. So this is the thing. This is like the first thing that's not an aircraft for Space Marines that I've really seen that can hover. It's really cool. And because it can hover, it has an ability called Repulsor Field, where if it's charged by an enemy, that enemy has to subtract 2 inches from whatever they roll on their charge roll. So that's pretty useful. Because that repulsor field, man, it's like hard to run into that, apparently. Now, I also feel like that should give you some kind of bonus for like unloading troops from it, because in addition to having all of those guns on it, like this isn't like a heavy support choice like the Land Raider is. This is actually a dedicated transport choice, and it's the only thing that can actually contain Primaris Marines at the moment. So if you want to transport any Primaris troops, they have to go in the repulsor tank. Yeah. Not sure why. I mean, the Land Raider is able to transport Terminators, so why couldn't it transport Primaris? And also, the repulsor can't transport anything but Primaris, but I'm like, well, if it can transport Primaris, why can't it transport Terminators or regular Marines? Not that I have any regular Marines, but, you know, it can, or I mean, it can't, so yeah. But anyways, it's really good, but yeah, that subtracting from the charge range of your opponent's charge rolls, I feel like now if you're dumping troops out of this and they can deploy 3 inches from the hull, shouldn't they get to deploy an additional 2 inches because of that repulsor field thing? Nobody thought of that, did they? Yeah, I don't know. So anyways, what else do we have over here? So we have another 2 squads of intercessors. The front one here, again, has assault, or not assault, they have auto bolt rifles, which are assault weapons, so you can advance them and still fire those. And then the back squad here just has regular bolt rifles. Now, intercessors also have an option called a stalker bolt rifle, which is a heavy weapon, but it is then strength 4, AP -2, and 1 damage, but it also has like a 36-inch range or something like that. So it's a little bit more of like a sniper weapon, I guess, if you wanted to go that route. I haven't used any of those. I did buy like the actual box of intercessors that, that comes with that option, but I just went, 2 squads of assault bolt, I said that again, 2 squads of auto bolt rifle guys because I thought that would be more useful, and so far it has worked out in my favor. Now up here we have the other Nephilim jet fighter, and it has largely the same configuration except for that little nose weapon right there. Again, it has the 2 things of missiles, it has the twin heavy bolter, and this one also has a twin las cannon. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And the thing about the Nephilim jet fighters and the Dark Talon and stuff is they have this ability called strafing run, where if they're firing at any targets on the ground, you get a +1 to hit them. So these things will hit on 2s, unless they're firing heavy weapons, which the las cannon is, so then it will just hit on like a normal 3 because it has a ballistic skill of 3. So yeah, it'll hit on 3s if it moves up to 40 inches and fires that weapon. Now, unlike the Dark Talon, the Nephilims cannot hover, and they have to move a minimum of 20 inches, and they have to pivot up to 90 degrees when you move them, and then you have to move them in a straight line, based on that pivot. So you have to move them around kind of carefully on the board, because if you don't, there is the possibility that they can fly off the edge of the board, and if that happens, well, they're, casualties at that point. They are then destroyed, and that sucks. The Dark Talon doesn't really have that problem because it can enter hover mode, and then it loses its like minimum move distance of 20 inches, and its maximum move distance becomes 20 inches. But it also loses like its airborne benefits, like getting, -1 for enemies to shoot at it and stuff. The Nephilim, on the other hand, don't have that ability, so they have to be very careful how they're moving around, on the 48 by 72 inch board and stuff, because yeah, it's very easy for them to fly off the edge, and you don't want that to happen because these things are just basically flying tanks. Like, I mean, they only have toughness 6, but it's hard to hit them. Like, yeah, hardly anyone can hit these things in my experience. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you've had different experiences in your games if you play this game, but yeah. So the last thing we're going to talk about right here are these, and these are this is just a Ravenwing bike squad. This is also from the Dark Vengeance box set. And I don't find them particularly useful. This is probably the unit that I use least, I would say. So they are regular Marines, obviously because they came in Dark Vengeance. They didn't have Primaris Marines at the time. But yeah, that one on the end there with the plasma gun, he's probably the most useful. But the thing is, I mean, they're fast, but if the rest of your army isn't fast, what happens is these guys pull way out in front of it, and they get isolated, and then once your units are isolated, it's very easy for the enemy to pick them off. And, I mean, it's not like they have increased toughness as far as I know. I mean, they might be toughness 5, actually, but I'm pretty sure they're just toughness 4. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to look in the book right now, but as far as I know, they're toughness 4. And they have 2 wounds. Like, bikers have 2 wounds, like the Primaris. Each Primaris guy has 2 wounds. But, yeah, I mean, you can advance them and they can go 20 inches, but normally they just move 14 inches, while the rest of your guys are moving like 6 inches. So it's very easy for them to get isolated. Now, I mean, you don't have to just charge them right at the enemy, but at some point they're just going to end up, in front of your army. And I think I just hit the microphone, so sorry if there was a noise. But at some point they're just going to end up out in front of your army in an isolated position, and these things just tend to get picked off first. I mean, it's not like you can put them in the back. I mean, they're fast attack choices, so yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I just tend to not really use these bikes too much, or any bikes really. Yeah. Really the only fast attack choices I really take most of the time are the Scepters. They're really good. And I also enjoy having this air wing detachment of, the 3 aircraft and stuff. That's also really good. So that right there is my entire Dark Angels army so far. And I do have some more guys that I'm working on. I don't know if I'm ever going to finish building these guys, but in the Dark Vengeance box set, there was also a tactical squad, a 10-man tactical squad, and that includes a plasma cannon, a plasma gun, and a sergeant with a plasma pistol. And that's not too bad. I mean, the rest of the guys just have, regular bolt guns and stuff. But I kind of want to keep this army mostly Primaris, and I don't want to go and throw a regular not Primaris tactical squad in there because I feel like it'll look out of place. Now, in addition to that, I also have some of the special characters for this army. I'm currently working on Commander Azrael, which is the leader of this army, and I'm also working on Belial, the Grandmaster of the Deathwing. Now let's talk about Belial first. He's a terrible figure. Now, I mean, he has good stats. He's a Terminator, and he's the leader of the Deathwing, so that's not why I don't like him. I don't like him because he is a Finecast figure. Now, if you've ever heard the term Finecast before, then you may have also heard some negative connotation behind that. And let me tell you, that is not misplaced. That is probably the worst figure I've ever worked with. I don't just not like it because it's resin, I don't like it because it's like horribly, horribly, horribly made resin and stuff. Yeah, like, I'm not going to get him out right now and show you guys. I'll probably show you guys in another video or something, or maybe during a live stream or something, but I mean, like, parts of it were very brittle. Like, part of his cloak just broke right off when I was putting him together. And other than that, he has little holes all over him. And I have since figured out how to fix those, but I had already started painting them, or painting him, when I figured out how to fix those, and like basically I'd have to go back and like strip the paint off and start over if I were going to fill those in. So I'm not going to really complain about it too much. I'm just going to paint them up and live with it. It's fine. I can totally live with it. It's not that bad. I mean, for a figure that costs $20, there shouldn't be these kind of problems with it, right? Commander Azrael, on the other hand, he's a pretty good figure. He is metal. Like all of the guys you see on the table here, these guys are plastic. But Commander Azrael and his little helmet bearer watcher in the dark guy, these are pewter figures, and they're pretty good. Like I said, I'm still painting them up. I've really only got a base coat on Commander Azrael. Belial is a little bit farther along, but neither one of them are anywhere near finished. But I mean, there is also that possibility of Lionel Johnson coming out sometime in the next month. So that's amazing. I don't know how that's going to affect Azrael's position in the Dark Angels, but if Lionel Johnson comes out, you better believe I'm gonna like drop everything else and paint him up and use him in every game for the rest of my life. Yeah, Lionel Johnson, that's my dude. Okay, so I think that's pretty much going to conclude this look at my Dark Angels army. Now in the next video, what I want to do is take a look at my Death Guard army. So what I'm trying to do for the Death Guard army, I think I just hit the microphone a third time. Sorry if there was a huge loud noise there. So what I'm trying to do with the Death Guard army is get workable 2,000 points going. So in the next video, it's probably not going to be the complete army. At the moment, I've just finished 2 Plague Burst crawlers, and I think what I have is about 1,700 points so far. So I have 2 more units to go. Only 2 more units to go to make a workable 2,000 points. Now, I haven't actually used that army in a game yet, so I don't know, like how good my unit selection is for that. I don't know if this army will be like viable or anything, but in the next video, we'll take a look at it. I do have Mortarion. I do have the Death Lord himself. I have him. He's painted up, and he looks pretty good, I think. I spent a lot of time on his wings, so there's that. So yeah, that'll be the next video. So that's pretty much it. That's going to conclude this look at my Dark Angels army. So yeah, next time we'll do the Death Guard, And then after that, it will probably be like things that I'm like working on, you know, like things I'm painting or things I'm assembling or, you know, whatever. Stuff like that. Maybe a video game. I don't know. Maybe Elite Dangerous. I don't know. Something like that. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video or live stream.